What's going on, everybody? Yep, we're into May. How we doing? It's the Al Gattulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Hope you had a good week. My birthday was earlier this week, so had a nice time there. Just very quiet, spent it with family. Good stuff. But we're into May. Can you believe it? May already? Man, the year is flying by. Well, listen, coming up in 20 minutes, we've got a great program for you. Just about 20 minutes, maybe a little longer than that. David Walker, co-owner of Firestone Walker, will join me on the program. Obviously, the acquisition of Stone Brewing is a topic we'll be talking about. The Firestone Walker Invitational at the end of the month. 30 years as a brewery. So much more to get into with David. I've been waiting a long time for this one to interview the folks from Firestone Walker. So that's coming up in a little bit, but we got news to get to, so let's dive into it, shall we? Treehouse has now filed applications for a brewery and distillery licenses for a space in Boston's Quincy Market at the heart of the city's financial, government, and tourist district. That from the Boston Globe about a week and a half ago. If approved, Treehouse would take over the long-closed Cheers bar, which allowed fans of the show to experience a replica of Sam Malone's famed fictional watering hole. It shut down back in 2020 after 20 years in business. In 2024, Treehouse had explored building out a full-service taproom and distillery in Boston's Prudential Center, where it operates a pickup location for beer to go. A taproom at Quincy Market, which is steps away from a Samuel Adams taproom, would be its fifth location in Massachusetts. They have Charlton, South Deerfield, Sandwich, and Tewksbury, in addition to taprooms in Saratoga Springs, New York, and Woodstock, Connecticut. So Treehouse just continues to expand and continues to get those beers out. There's a meme that's going around. Actually, it's a video. A guy explaining there are beers and then there's Treehouse beer. And he says his name is Julius, named after one of the beers. And it's actually kind of funny. But for in a more serious conversation, this is what Treehouse does. They crank out tremendous beers. Their hazies are unmatched. People go in, they bring hand carts. It's case upon case upon case that they go out of there. And I haven't had a Treehouse beer in quite some time, but this is Treehouse. And if you've ever been there, I've never been to the Mecca. It's one of those things. So kudos to them and good luck. We mentioned this about Phase 3 Brewing and who is going to be doing the beers for Pixel and Pals. It's going to take place worldwide on May 16th. It all goes live around the globe. Bars, shops, tap rooms linking up to drop this year's Pixel and Pals, featuring collabs with Brewhouse, Masorium Bractorium, and Parish Brewing Company. Same day, same moment. Hit the map, find your spot, show some love to the accounts, bringing it to your city. This one doesn't happen without them. Draft cans, all haze. So locally in New York City, Covenhoven in Brooklyn is going to be carrying it. And in New Jersey, Tap House 15 will be carrying the collabs. I'm going to hopefully take a trip out there, Tap House 15. The food's great there. They always have a great beer selection, so it'll be interesting to see if they just have it on tap or if they have cans for sale. If they don't, would love to see if there's cans for sale somewhere else in New Jersey. As soon as we find out that information, we'll try and get it over to you. Carl Strauss releasing its first non-beer beverage. It is a hard cherry cola. It is a 5% ABV, gluten-free flavored malt beverage. It is available at major retailers across California, packaged in 12-ounce can of 12 packs, 12-ounce bottles, 6-packs, and 19.2-ounce single-serve cans, with the potential to expand to the rest of the craft brewery's footprint in Arizona and Nevada. The offering is also back on draft across Carl Strauss's 9 brew pubs. It was a seasonal draft option, but now it's up full-time at Carl Strauss's location. So there you go. Now, obviously the Craft Brewers Conference was about a week and a half ago, and the interesting thing, couple of things to take away from there. Bart Watson, the CEO, president of the Brewers Association, said during a breakfast, this is the quote, "There was a period of time where you could basically walk into a bank and say brewery, and they would just hand you a loan." And Bart is saying that's not the case anymore. In 2025, 300 new breweries opened in the U.S., down from 517 the year before. While openings have slowed, so have closures. Down 400 to 481 in 2025. There was 591 of them in 2024. That's an 18.6% decrease. So Watson says almost all the new openings are very small and locally focused, and they see an opportunity to serve a community in a way that's not being served right now. At the same time, Closings are still fairly static. He brings up a great point here, Bart. Breweries have become the new community area where people get together, they hang out, they talk, they drink, have a beer or two, talk about what's going on in their lives, talk about the town, and things of that nature. I think this is the direction where breweries need to go right now. If you're in an industrial park and you don't have people coming into your tap room, you've got a problem. If you're in a downtown, like, say, a Wet Ticket, you're taking advantage of public transportation, parking, restaurants nearby. It's an advantage. Hey, we go out to eat. When we're done, let's walk over, have a beer at Wet Ticket, and then head home. Or if you're a place like Autodidact, off a main roadway, right on Route 10, you stop, have a couple of beers. If there's a food truck, maybe you grab some food. Or you can head down the road. There's plenty of restaurants. Now, I know Autodidact, it's a little bit of a loop to get to. But if you do it, it's easy, right? This is what breweries are becoming. And I think Bart brought up a good point there. Focus on your community. Focus on doing things for your community. Make your place the place that people want to go to and hang out. That's really that's the bottom line. Bart brought up a good point there. The other one from the CBC, Mark Bonamo, he's a senior category manager of beer, wine, and spirits at the C-Store Chain Network Global Partners, said during a Tuesday CBC education session, he said, listen, a lot of people leave this on the table. They get, this is tips for getting on the shelf in chain accounts, okay? And he said, the craft brand gets the account, and then they kind of leave it by the wayside. He says the job isn't over. And this is a quote from him. He said, this is something that a lot of people believe on the table, and I have to give you guys credit, Lawson's and New Trailer were part of the discussion, credit for this, is the farming your own land and is making sure that you're looking at those placements as an opportunity for you to grow. And he said, I'm not going to be able to, as a merchant, to market your product for you. I'm not going to be able to say, as soon as you hit my shelf, your numbers are going to fly. It's also your opportunity to help promote that product. And promote doesn't necessarily mean price. It's to bring awareness to, it's market your product. It's help us become the destination to get your product. So if you're in a new spot, and this same thing if you're a local craft beer person, you've gotten on the shelf at a place, now you've got to do more. Tastings, a takeover sort of, on a Friday night. Hey, I'll sit here for 2 hours, pour my beer, and talk to you about it, okay? Those things have gone by the wayside. I see them from here, time to time, but a lot of them don't do it anymore. Hey, I'm in an account, great. I'll check back in on them in 6 months. And by then, maybe you're not selling any beer. That's the key. You have to maintain those accounts. Go in and visit them, not just to tell them about a new beer that you have coming out, but also, hey, I'm going to have lunch here today. I'm going to drink one of my beers. And maybe if somebody's here and they're enjoying the beer, I'm going to buy them a beer and talk to them about it. Hey, thanks for supporting me. And thanks for supporting this place. That's how you get things done. Excellent points. And would love it if brewers that are listening right now weigh in on it. I'd love to hear your take on it. Finally, Angry Chair Brewing, after nearly 13 years, they are looking to sell. The South Seminole Heights Brewery in Tampa being offered as a turnkey opportunity. The entire business is up for grabs for $3 million. And according to the listing, the sale includes pretty much everything except the building. Comes with the brewing and kitchen equipment, packaging facilities, branding, recipes, and if you just love beer and have no idea to make it, hands-on training covering the brewing process. Angry Chair is reporting $1.5 million in annual revenue. They rent the 14,300 square foot space at 101 North Florida Avenue. A $25,000 a month lease through 2027 says the listing, so it's only until next year. The business also employs 8 full-time and 5 part-time employees. That's a lot of money. $3 million, you don't own the building, you're paying $25,000 a month in rent. The lease is only good until next year. Angry Chair makes some great beers. They make banging stouts. They make some other great stuff too. But that is a heavy lift to be paying $3 million for a brewery in a big space. I've been there. It's an enormous space. Plenty of parking, big space, not really off the beaten path, but again, an enormous space to keep to fill up. And you've got a kitchen, I get it, so you got food. There's some advantages there. $3 million is a lot of money. A lot of money to be investing in a brewery for not owning the building. If you own the building, it's a different set of circumstances. Now you're talking real estate. Now you're talking an advantage. But $3 million, and then you're renting a space of which there's no guarantee that rent isn't going to go up the following year. And they're saying they pull in $1.5 million a year. Again, I'm sure it's close to that. Maybe it's a little lower. Maybe it's a little higher. But again, whoever buys it, if they end up buying it, they're a good brewery. We'll see what happens. When we come back after a short break, we're going to have more news and notes from around the beer world. This is the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. First weekend in May. Boy, and it really does, honestly, you get to this month of May, and suddenly it feels like the year just flies by, right? Somebody made a comment on my posting for my birthday saying that they love when it's my birthday because it's that much closer to summer. I love that. Thanks, Kim. I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. All right, coming up in just a bit, David Walker, co-owner of Firestone Walker, is going to join me on the program. Obviously, we're going to talk about the acquisition of Stone Brewing, the Firestone Walker Invitational. Do they still have the juice after 30 years to continue doing what they're doing, to innovate, to continue to push boundaries? Lots of stuff to talk with David, and just absolutely love the interview. We had a great chat, good time, and appreciate him getting up early in the morning, West Coast time, to record that interview. So you'll get to listen to that shortly. Now, we've got a bunch of things here to get to. First off, Stone Brewing is going to be closing in Virginia sooner than expected. The Richmond location will be closing after May 14th. They want to thank everyone for the collaborations, the support, the industry community, Pink Boots, and those who appreciate the craft of brewing. Obviously, Sapporo is going to be doing some changes in there. And then the word is they will eventually rebrand it as a Sapporo facility and have an experience there. But as of May 14th, Stone Brewing will be closing their facility in Virginia. Wanderback Beer Works has a new beer out. It is Summer Lager. It is 4.5% ABV, a touch of citrus. It's cranked up to 11, as they say, on the refreshment-o-meter. They say warm weather might not be here yet, but breeze, that's the name of the beer, is. So wherever you can get Wanderback beer down in South Jersey. Lawson's Finest. Now, speaking of Lawson's Finest, Sean Lawson, the owner of Lawson's Finest, is going to join me on the program in 2 weeks. Not next Sunday, but the following Sunday, he will be on the program. We've locked in a date and time, and it was great to catch up with Sean at the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival back in April. And so Sean is going to get back on the program again, so I'm excited about that. Now, in New Jersey and throughout their distribution market, the latest year-round release, Hopwired, is available. It's a 6.8% hazy IPA. It's loaded with citrus, tropical notes, and has already hit the better beer stores and bars as of this past Friday. So kudos to Chris, who's their New Jersey rep here for Lawson's Finest, and for Lawson's Finest, too. That's a good beer. Hopwired is one I had in Atlantic City. Excellent. That's a nice, tasty, hazy IPA that's just a hair under 7%. Flagship Brewery, Jay and his crew, are celebrating 12 years as a brewery. May 16th from 2 p.m. to midnight. It is the biggest party of the year. Local vendors, DJs from Maker Park Radio, live music at night, and, of course, plenty of ice-cold beer. See you there. Again, May 16th from 2 p.m. to midnight. That is Flagship Brewery's 12th anniversary. Frem Family Brewers, who we've had the folks from Frem on the program before, they have a new tropical hazy IPA. This one they used crushed cryo hops to achieve intense flavor and aroma while maintaining shelf stability. It's Frem's Tropical Hazy IPA is a vibrant 6.3% India Pale Ale, lush in pineapple, mango, and passion fruit notes, a soft, full-flavored mouthfeel, and a restrained bitterness. Josh Frem, who we've had on the program before, said, "We noticed that the hazy IPA drinker enjoys lighthearted and dynamic tropical flavors which we are really leaning into with our new Tropical Hazy IPA core beer. We're excited for this beer to be a go-to for fun, easygoing, and youthful occasions where drinkers are looking for flavorful, quality, and well-balanced beer. I second that. Listen, there's a segment of the population of beer drinkers that are looking for those 8 and 9% bangers. But for a lot of people, they're looking for something in the 5 to 7% range. And if you hit that sweet spot of around 5.5%, 6%, that's one that can go down smooth, and you can drink a whole bunch of them. I know I do that when I'm tailgating. And if I do have heavy ABV beers, I want to start with that first and work my way back down to a lower ABV. Sometimes I'll go lower ABV and go up higher, but most times when I'm tailgating in a parking lot, I want to go big first and then notch it down. And sometimes it'll go from 9% to 5% and maybe even 4% because I want to stay there because I want to be able to have a few, be able to go into the arena, grab a bottle of water, or maybe have one more beer before the show starts and then not drink for the rest of the night so that I can sober up and drive home. That's kind of how you do it. That's somewhat drinking responsibly. All right. After a prolonged hiatus, the rhythm of the Time Pilsner series returns to Brick City with a fresh batch of Time Stand Still. Time Stand Still. Rush had a song that... All right. Well, anyway, it's an updated label. It's a refined recipe. It clocks in at 5.25% ABV. The Time Stand Still high-fidelity German-style Pilsner designed to hit the pause button on the noise of the world. They've dialed in the process. It's a bright, refreshing profile. Clean malt character meets a gentle floral hop aroma. Every sip resonates with balance, finishing with a snap of crisp bitterness that lingers just long enough to keep the groove going. It is available now where you get your Brick City beer. Now, speaking of Bricks, they're celebrating 11 years this year. And their 11th anniversary is this month, but it's going to be different, obviously. They don't have a home base. They are still looking for a location to build on, although I've been hearing some rumors that they may never build a tap room again and just continue on their distro. And if they do that, hey, kudos to them. But they are going to be in legendary spots all month long for fresh taps, merchandise giveaways, and the same great vibes that you love. May 6th, they'll be at Andy's Corner Bar. On May 12th, they'll be at the Cloverleaf Tavern, which is a mecca for craft beer. May 14th, they'll be at Winbury's Prince. May 28th, they'll be at the Sterling Hotel. On May 29th, they'll be at the Landing in Hillsborough. And on May 29th, or actually, well, I guess both spots. May 29th, they'll be at the Landing in Hillsborough. They'll also be at Ed and Mary's. I may try to get over to the Sterling Hotel for their Brick City Tap Takeover. It sounds like fun. They say whether you've been with us since year one or just caught the Bricks train, come hang out and celebrate 11 years of Jersey craft beer. Now, some other local news. Two Ton Brewing in Union County, Kenilworth, a couple towns over from me, has sold. They are, they started back in 2014 when they were Gypsy Brewing out of Linden. They were Garage Home Brewing. Finally, they got their own brick and mortar in Kenilworth. But they have sold. So they have the Barberi family has done a tremendous job keeping that place open. I know there was a lot of turnover, the pandemic. They had a lot of stuff that was going on, but the entire crew, Matt and his family, they have sold the business. It is an owner that is not in the brewery world. They're in the process of hiring a brewer. They're closed temporarily. They're going to fine-tune some stuff. They sold everything, the name, the recipes, the whole thing. So whoever is coming in is going to start this fresh, but start it with an existing name and recipes, and we'll see what they do to tweak those recipes as the months go. So when they reopen, I'm going to go check it out. It's not that far from me, and Two Ton was always a nice little space to go to. They got a cool little speakeasy downstairs that I think they need to utilize more. Not just for private parties, but open up that space so that more people can hang out in there because it is a small space. Killsborough, as I mentioned last week, July 25th, noon to 4 p.m. Pizza party. Tickets go on sale this Monday. That is tomorrow. If you're listening to the show tonight on Sunday night, it goes on sale tomorrow morning. I believe the tickets go on sale at 9 a.m. This event sells out. It's a 4-hour outdoor picnic style event. Unlimited beer samples from Killsborough and other local breweries. Fresh pizza made from some of the best Staten Island pizzerias in New York City. Live entertainment, outdoor games, picnic-style fun. Lots of good stuff. As soon as we get the brewery and the pizza list, which will be trickling out over the next several weeks, we will get that info for you. And we'll get Sean back on the program again, Sean Torres from Killsborough, to sort of give an update. I'll go to you know what? I'm due a trip to the brewery, so definitely want to get over there, maybe have a little pizza and some beer and chat with Sean. Twin Elephants anniversary party. That's this coming weekend coming up, May the 8th through the 10th. And they've got a ton of releases. So on Friday, they're releasing a collab between Tonewood and The Seed, Deadwood Meadow. It's a spring lager at 6.3%. They're also releasing Wagon Creep. That's from Hidden River and Carbon Copy. That is a West Coast IPA at 6.8%. They'll have food trucks there. They'll have a karaoke party as well. On Saturday, the big bangers come. Steam Breather, that's the Masorium Widowmaker collab. That's a double IPA at 8.4%. It's called Steam Breather. Then Bone Memory, this is the Troon and Tess collab. It's a triple, 10%. And then Sub Rosa with Rose Court, that's a barrel-aged stout at 14%. They'll have a food truck, Cousin Maine's Lobster food truck will be there. They'll have music as well. Two different artists will be there, and that's going to be all day long. And then on Sunday, no releases. They'll have a food truck. They'll have music as well. It's a DJ set from 2 to 5, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I will be there on Saturday. I'm looking to get there on the early side, so if you come by Twin Elephant next Saturday, come over and say hi. And then finally, Chilton Mill, their 7-year anniversary. I can't believe 7 years as a brewery. It's gone by that quickly. That is taking place the weekend of May 16th and 17th, noon to 9 on Saturday, noon to 6 p.m. on Sunday. New merchandise, anniversary glassware. They're going to have new beers on deck as well. They're going to have live music on both days. It is going to be a lot of fun. That's May 16th and May 17th. Now, when we come back after a short break, we're going to have a few more news and notes to get to, including our weekly segment with Gary Monterosso. This is the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Welcome back to the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Coming up in just 5 minutes. That's right, just 5 minutes. David Walker, co-owner of Firestone Walker, will join me on the program. Obviously, the acquisition of Stone Brewing we'll be talking about, the Firestone Walker Invitational at the end of this month. 30 years as a brewery. So much more to get into with David. I have been waiting a long time for this one. You're going to enjoy this interview. So, and it's a long one, so I hope you enjoy it. But first, before we get to that, our weekly segment with our good friend, Gary Monterosso, on the business of craft beer.
I'm Gary Monterosso for the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast. Craft beer is going through a tough stretch right now. Production is down, and some folks are even predicting the whole thing is on its way out. But here's the thing. The industry isn't dying, it's just growing up. The days of breweries releasing a brand new out there beer every single week, well, those are behind us. Today's drinkers and the retailers and distributors who serve them aren't looking for the next weird thing. They want consistency, quality, and value. They want to know their favorite beer is going to be there when they come back for it. So if you're a craft brewer trying to figure out your next move, here's a simple rallying cry. Another pint of the same. Focus on what you do best and do it really, really well.
Gary, we thank you for that. I don't think he's entirely wrong. I do think that there are craft brewers who want to continue to innovate and do things and continue to come out with new releases. But I do think there is something to be said for the craft brewery that continues to make the same consistent beer over and over and over again. I think he's right. People come in, they want to know that that Kolsch is going to be there, that lager is going to be there, that IPA that they've been drinking for the last 3 years, it's going to continue to be there. He's absolutely right about that. And if you make those beers well, those core beers, you can continue to sell them and make yourself a profit. Good stuff from Gary. Appreciate that. And speaking of which, have you seen this craze about Busch Light Apple? Okay. I don't drink it, but apparently the college kids must because it's been flying off the shelves. And, everyone is sort of chattering about it. It's inexpensive, right? They had, in Massachusetts, 24 packs for $24.99 running right out the door, right? A friend of mine who works in a liquor store in New Jersey told a group of us about a week ago, 50 cases of Busch Light Apple 30 packs. He put them out in one day. They were completely sold out in under 10 hours at $44.99 each. So don't tell me people aren't drinking. They are. They're just drinking certain things. I don't get the allure of the whole Busch Light apple thing. I've seen some reviews on it, from craft beer people. It's, whatever. But think about that. A 30-pack of Busch Light apple at almost $45 before tax, and it sold out in just 10 hours. That's crazy. No, under 10 hours. So, again, I think this is where you're going to see, and that's macro beer, I get it. But I think this is also where you're going to see price point become an issue for a lot of craft breweries. Do you spend $20 or $25 on that 4-pack of, an 8%, hazy? Or do you plunk down $13 for, let's say, a 4-pack or a 6-pack of a really good lager? That's going to be the question for you, whether or not you're going to do that or not. I know my discretionary spending has gone down, and I'm sure that others have as well. Plain and simple. All right. When we come back after a short break, David Walker, co-owner of Firestone Walker, is going to join me on the program. I hope you enjoy it. Would love to get your feedback, too. AlbertG@NYCRadio.com if you want to shoot me an email, or hit me up on the socials on Instagram at Gattullo, Gattullo, or over on the Facebook page, facebook.com/AG Craft Beer Cast. This is the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer, as we sail into this first week of May. And I have to tell you that my next guest, the co-owner of a brewery located in Paso Robles, California, they are celebrating 30 years as a brewery during the month of May. In full disclosure, you've heard me talk about this on the show many times before. This is Firestone Walker happens to be one of my favorite breweries in the world. Everything that they do, from a Pilsner to a barley wine to barrel-aged stouts, simply perfection. And again, that's my personal opinion, but I know there's a lot of you out there that have supported this brand for well over, coming up on 30 years here. You can follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/firestone.walker. You can also follow them on Instagram at Firestone Walker. And the website, of course, for more information is firestonewalker.com. Let me welcome to the program for the very first time the co-owner of Firestone Walker, David Walker. David, it is an honor, sir. How are you?
I am doing great, thanks, Al.
So,
as breezy here in California.
See, that's the other thing about California. It's the weather. Everybody complains the taxes, the gas prices, but the weather, that's always the allure, right?
Yeah, you do.
So as you approach 30 years as a brewery, and that, in my opinion, has really been the forefront of shaping the craft beer experience. What is the mindset from everyone right now as you head into year 31?
That's it's a really good question, because when you hit these sort of milestones, for some reason you do actually ask yourself, what is the meaning of it all? And hitting 30 is huge for us. First of all, there's a handful of other breweries that kicked off sort of the early phases of the American craft revolution that are all turning 30, and so there's a real sort of sense of esprit de corps as sort of everybody sort of rounds the corner. But, the fact is there's sort of a sense of what's the next 30 years like. And, something that my partner Adam and I have been working on for many years is obviously this sort of concept of a multi-generational enduring brewery. And, we feel like we're sort of set up for that. And, we've had a busy first half of the year in terms of sort of reshaping the brewery, and not reinventing it, but sort of adding some ballast to sort of keep us relevant. And so yeah, I don't know whether that's a really grown up answer. Other than that, 30 it's like WTF? How do we get that old? My youngest daughter was born the first year that we started the brewery, and she's getting married now. So It's like, where did life go?
Yeah,
so.
I met my wife back in 1996, so there you go. Not knowing that she was going to be my wife, so it's amazing what 30 years can do. And speaking of which, as you talk about adding ballast and changes, and other breweries that have that are celebrating 30 years this year, it was about a week or so ago that the Craft Brewers Conference in Philadelphia was held. What I didn't have on my bingo card was that Firestone Walker and Duvel USA would enter into an agreement to take over Stone Brewing. Why was now the right time to add a legacy brand to the portfolio?
Well, I promise you, we didn't set out in February to do something like this. Mm-hmm. What happened was, the owner of Stone, Sapporo, was having they're having a ban a couple of years, and with their own brands, and they're very focused on developing them, and they are streamlining capacity and a bunch of other stuff. And right. I think they found that trying to balance those two really diverse brewing cultures and brewing brands was going to be difficult. So they sort of knew that obviously we were sort of cut from the same cloth as Stone, born the same year. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a difficult. It really wasn't a difficult discussion. We love the guys from Stone. We love Stone. Like I said, it's very much in our wheelhouse, and so adding it to our adventure was not difficult. And so that was, it was it's going to be a very busy remainder of the year, right. Just trying to unfumble the riddle, but it's a beautiful American brewery, and we are, adding it to our family is no burden.
Yeah, and
it's going to be great.
And I don't doubt that you're going to take care of that epic brand much as you do with Firestone Walker. We're talking with David Walker, the co-owner of this beautiful brewery that is located in Paso Robles, California. They're celebrating 30 years as a brewery during the month of May. Follow them on Facebook, facebook.com, Firestone.Walker, Instagram at Firestone Walker, and, of course, the website is FirestoneWalker.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. And I know that the reports were saying that you're going to be winding down operations in Escondido. Most of the brewing is going to be done at your facility in Paso Robles, and then going east, it'll be held. Those beers will be made out of Boulevard. Do you foresee any wholesale changes to the brand, or are you going to keep things essentially the way that they are because of the fact that they were sort of focusing on a couple of core beers?
Yeah, no, like zero changes. I think I'm not sure what Sapporo plans they have for Escondido. Right. Clearly, we have a brewery with plenty of capacity. 4 or 5 hours north in the center of California, and that's really our home, and that's really that's where we're going to brew all the beer. So, there's obviously plans to integrate Stone staff in our future in terms of telling the stories and the commercial side, and
sure,
and keeping keeping Stone a very much a sort of keeping its own story, an independent story within our family.
Got it. Now, let's talk about the Firestone Walker Invitational Festival. It's held every year in May in Paso Robles. This year, in addition to the event, you're holding a block party. Is this a part of the festival, or is this something completely different for this year for the 30 years?
That's a great question. And I hope someone's listening from Paso Robles, California, because, the fact is we got so much earache, because what happens is we sell, 4,000 tickets to this event, and they're all gone in a minute.
Yep.
And so, you bump into the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker in the local town, and they give you a good thumping because they don't ever get tickets.
Right.
And so what we decided to do is okay, we're going to throw a block party on the Friday before the event. It's going to be totally on us. And it's usually, it's basically a celebration of our community, and they come by and they can access some of the beers that are available for some of the folks who didn't get tickets.
Okay.
That's really that's really the thing. And what's happened is because people are coming, in some cases, from all over the world to the event, especially the brewers. You know, we're trying to fill out a really solid weekend so they can say, you know what, I'm going to stick that on my calendar and really deep dive into beer culture and do the things I love.
Nice.
So
It's really funny because last year I had, on the day your tickets went on sale, I was getting an examination where I had to be knocked out, and they told me, don't do any rash decisions. So I said, okay. I got home, and I saw that the tickets were going on sale, and I actually scored 2 tickets. I ended up not being able to go because I couldn't work it out logistically, and my wife was like, you're going where and how long and what? And it's this and and so I ended up having to I ended up selling the tickets to somebody who actually went to the event. And I felt bad, but I was just like, and she's like, you weren't supposed to make decisions. And I said, yeah, well, I mean, you know me. I mean, it was 2 clicks and and it happened. I mean, what are you going to do? So hopefully one of these years I could actually get out to this event. But I have to tell you, you get an amazing lineup of breweries that come out to pour every year. People come from all over the world, as you said, to attend it. But is it still as much fun as it was the first year that you started it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely. You can't ignore the vibe and energy of 4,000 fired up people. First of all, because they got a ticket, but secondly, because anybody who's there is really pretty diligent about beer culture and about wanting to be there. This is not a casual look-see.
Right.
So no, it's it's like anything. It's like going to a concert where everybody's sort of they sort of understand the music and what they're doing, and it's a lot like that. So it's what I like. It's a grown-up beer event. It's great, and the beautiful thing about it is most of the principals of the breweries show up to pour their beer. Yeah. So you're really sort of index length to a lot of the sort of conception behind what's going on with each brewery.
That is great. That is definitely one thing that is missing from festivals, I think, overall, is that the brewers, the people that own the brewery, the brewers themselves, sort of need to be there to kind of discuss the beer, because there are the beer geeks that want to talk about the various beers that they make, and sometimes I think we've seen over the years that's sort of lacking, and that's one of the great things about your event that you do. But I liked how you put it. It's a grown-up beer drinking event. It's not 4 hours to just go ballistic. It's thoughtful, well, prepared sort of drinking and conversating, and that's what's awesome about it. And I think that's great. And like I said, hopefully one of these years I'll get there. We're talking with David Walker, the co-owner of this beautiful brewery located in Paso Robles, California. 30 years this month, the month of May. You can follow them on Facebook at facebook.com, firestone.walker, Instagram at firestonewalker. The website, of course, is firestonewalker.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. I want to shift, David. Your brewmaster, Matt Brindleson, continues to push the envelope when it comes to barrel aging beers. For example, I love the anniversary ales every year, but my favorite has to be the Parabola. I recently had a chance to crack open a bottle of Napa Parabola from 2019 at a bottle share in Atlantic City, and I have to tell you, 7 years later, the beer still tasted amazing. Cinnamon, wine notes, it was fantastic. Now, do you and Adam have a hand in the making of those beers, or is it just Matt? Is it just Matt's a magician and you let him do his thing?
Yeah, Matt's a magician. It's like, I'm not going to tell Eric Clapton how to hold his guitar. I mean, he's pretty extraordinary. And actually, take a beer like Parabola. There's a life history behind that beer. I mean, Brynildson started out at Goose Island when he was, as an early brewer when he got out of college, and he was rubbing shoulders with a couple other guys, Greg Hall, John Hall's son, the owner of Goose Island, and Nick Floyd, the founder of Three Floyds. And the three of those guys dreamed and schemed about barrel-aged beers. And I don't know who you attribute it to, or maybe it was Greg Hall with Bourbon County Stout or Dark Lord over at Three Floyds. But the three of them, I believe, conceived that notion back in the early 90s. And Matt sort of took it as an idea he had in his pocket when it showed up with us. And he was skunkworksing these beers for many years before we actually released Parabola, and I think that was really a unique sort of American craft innovation, and they're just really interesting beers. And now Matt is Merlin. He's got his own spell book. No one writes that for him.
I have to tell you, I look forward to it every year, and it's one of those things where I'll just put the bottle away for a little bit and let it age a little bit, and then crack one of them open. I usually buy two, or if it's at a place where they're pouring it, hopefully it's been sitting for a while, so this way I can get more in depth in the complex. And I believe me, I don't brew beer. I don't know that. I mean, I know a little bit about beer, but I certainly don't know as much as a lot of these guys. But it's a fantastic beer that I enjoy drinking every single year. So I'm going to ask you. This was a conversation I had with a guy who does brew beer, and we talked about if we had to pick one brewery to drink from, if we were stranded on a desert island and you had to pick one brewery to drink from, out of all the breweries that are in the world, what would it be? And we both agreed that Firestone Walker would be the brewery, because what you guys do, from Pilsners to stouts to IPAs to barley wines, everything always comes out exceptional. So if you had to drink one of those beers, if you were stuck on a desert island forever, which one of them would it be?
Well, for me, it's not a hard one. It's our DBA. It's our English Pale Ale. It was the first beer we made. I like to say that beer sort of wraps all the hopes and dreams that I ever had about the brewery. It's balanced. It integrates wood. It's sort of hard earned in terms of the beer itself. It's beautifully. It's 5% alcohol by volume. I love Union Jack, but my evening's over after a couple of those. DBA goes well with food. It's both refreshing, but it's also full bodied. I mean, it's a giant beer in my life. So yeah, that's my answer.
That would be the one. Okay, and a last one for me, David, and I do appreciate we're talking with David Walker, the co-owner of Firestone Walker Brewery. For someone listening now who's either just started a brewery or is thinking about opening one, obviously we've seen all the different trends. Breweries open, they close. We get all of that. Is there a piece of advice that you would give him or her that you have used over the years at Firestone Walker?
Yeah, I mean, be prepared to make almost as many mistakes as you make good decisions. But I think the biggest thing about breweries is just staying engaged. I mean. And believe in beer. I like to say that brands and beers come and go, but beer endures as a social lubricant, as whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And I think if you stay engaged, it's not hard to make right decisions. It's not something that it's a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle. If you want to start a brewery, so. As long as you're all in, then it will work. And it's like, to a certain extent, it's like farming. I mean, it is it's dawn to dusk, and that's just the way it is. So
there you go. There you go. My guest has been David Walker, co-owner of Firestone Walker. They are located in Paso Robles, California, celebrating 30 years as a brewery during the month of May. Follow them on Facebook, facebook.com/firestone.walker, Instagram at Firestone Walker, and, of course, their website is firestonewalker.com. David, thank you for giving me a few minutes. I do appreciate it. This has been a blast, and I hope to get you on sometime, and again sometime. And if you're ever in New York, please, would love to meet up with you and buy you a beer, my friend.
I'm all in. Thanks for everything you do to promote more craft brewers and regional craft brewers. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. My thanks to everybody involved in the program, including my guest, co-owner of Firestone Walker, David Walker from Firestone Walker Brewing. And, of course, last but not least, the great Buddy Watson. Back Monday on the Joe Piscopo Show at 6 a.m. This has been the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Cheers, everybody.